WJOL is everywhere. Listen on your favorite app, iHeart, Odyssey, or TuneIn. Take WJOL wherever you go.
And you ask me what I want this year, and I try.
It's 8:13. You are listening to Will County's News Talk Sports 1340 WJOL. Good morning, everyone. Welcome into Tuesday, 21st day of January. Hey, we have a visitor in Will County, one we don't normally see in these parts. Joel Craig is a Forest Preserve District of Will County volunteer and a member of the Will County Audubon. He joins us live on the Turk Furniture studio line. Hey there, Joel. How's it going, buddy?
Good morning, Scott. It's a little chilly outside today, is it not?
Yes, just a little. Even for our feathery friend that we're going to be talking about, how do you suppose he or she is holding up this morning?
He probably feels right at home, honestly. Good for him, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good for him. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to tell you a story. We're going to be a little bit vague, or we're going to be very vague about the location of this feathery critter that we're talking about, and we'll make it all come full circle, and it'll all make sense. But pretty cool story. I got turned on to this and by a WJOL listener who said that they saw that a certain forest preserve was closed, and they wanted me to find out why. So I called folks down at Forest Preserve District, Will County. They told me, we got in touch with you, and here we are today. So what do we have that we normally, I guess, don't have in Will County right now?
So we do have a snowy owl that showed up at one of our preserves about a week and a half ago. The reason we're being vague about this is because we had a very unfortunate incident happen back in early December. We had another snowy owl show up in a farm field in McHenry. And what happened up there was the local newspaper up there published photographs of it and the location. And as soon as it happened, you had the roads along this farm field lined with cars. People were out there trying to get pictures of it. They're chasing this poor thing around, and it ended up getting hit by a car. Very, very sad story. So when we had this owl show up in Will County, within a day or two, people began finding out where it was. We had all these people showing up to see it, which, it's an exciting event. It's a very rare bird for our area. But again, this is a bird that has to eat constantly. It came from far, far north of the Arctic Circle, so they're under a tremendous amount of stress. They got to eat constantly. They eat about 1,600 lemmings per year, all right? So if you break that down, they've got to eat about 5 or 6 times just to survive, right? So if this guy's out in a field and it's got to account for human beings out there chasing it around, it can't eat. And it's already under a tremendous amount of stress just by being this far from home. So to try and protect it so that it can hunt and rest and do all the things just to survive, we had to make a pretty extreme decision on shutting this preserve down just to try and protect it. So we don't have another unfortunate incident down here in Will County too, because our mission is to try and conserve and protect our resources, and this is a pretty rare resource to have. So that's why we went about doing what we did. It's not something that we want to do, right? But we found it to be
it's part of the mission of the Forest Preserve District of Will County. These owls are beautiful. They have other names like white owl or Arctic owl. There are just a few thousand of these left.
They're stunning. They're absolutely stunning. Yeah, and of course they're under a bit of stress. Being in the Arctic, you have climate change issues going on. Polar bears are under a lot of stress up there because the ice is melting, and snowy owls are kind of dealing with the same thing with their habitat kind of, melting under their feet. Sure. So we see these, what's called eruptions, IRRUPTION, about every 4 years, and their populations kind of fluctuate with the numbers of lemmings. So when there's a big number of lemmings, the snowy owls will produce more owls in a year. Their breeding output can almost triple in years when there's big numbers of lemmings. So when that happens, they disperse further north or further south. And that's kind of what we're seeing this year, where we're seeing snowy owls appear further south. And that's what this one is showing up, in our area. So we may see more. It's still kind of early in the winter where we may see more popping up, in the further southern areas of the Midwest.
Yeah.
So, but very exciting times. But, we kind of made a tough decision to close this one preserve down to try and keep it safe.
Now, these little guys or gals, they go back, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Once we get into like March, it'll migrate back north.
Okay.
We do see some instances where, when if they find a good wintering ground, they may come back to the same spot every year.
Wow.
But the majority of these owls that we see are what we call hatch year birds or juvenile birds. This owl would have hatched, this past summer. This one that we saw, it's got heavily barred markings, so we're pretty sure it's a juvenile bird. It'll go back, and if they tend to come back to the same area every year, then we can make those assumptions that they're probably an adult bird that found a good spot that it liked, good supply of food,
a lot of food,
lots of mice, and it may come back. But they definitely do go back. And again, that's thousands of miles that they got to go back up to the very northern reaches of the Arctic.
Yeah, these are very regal birds, and we're lucky that we have one here in Will County. Again, leave it alone. And if you guys get any pictures, maybe you'll post them. But in the meantime, just leave it alone and take
Leave
solace.
it alone.
Leave it alone. Just don't even try to hunt down. Yep.
Yeah, rule of thumb: try to stay at least a football field away. If they notice your presence, you're too close.
That's good. Hey, Joel, thanks for coming on this morning. We appreciate it, bud. You take care. If there's anything else you need
thanks for having me, Scott.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know, buddy. We appreciate it. Joel Craig is a volunteer for the Forest Preserve District of Will County and a Will County Audubon member. They're pretty. They're really they're the white owls, and when they're younger, they got as he mentioned, the barbs on them, the little black barbs. And they have really feathery feet. So it looks like they're wearing puffy slippers. Check it out. Just you can Google it. Google snowy owl. All the pictures will pop right up. All right, it's 8:20. Sam's in for Don today. He's got a quick check of headlines. Hey, Bears have a new coach. Who is it? I'll tell you when I bring you the sports report next.
Slocum in the morning on 1340 WJOL.